Alrighty, a very, very happy Wednesday, and welcome to another episode of the TNC Sports Talk. My name is Justin. Today is April 15th of 2026. I'm excited to be here. Happy Jackie Robinson's Day for those out there, baseball fan wise, and just for those who celebrate Jackie Robinson. He has honestly left a impact on Major League Baseball. And as I'm getting content ready for today, and I know I'm kind of a lackluster this morning of getting content out. Trying to get games downloaded and posted and playing on MLB The Show. And we'll get to that here in a moment. I am, I hear the story of the creation of where the representation lies of wearing number 42. That was Jackie Robinson's number. And I just think it's a interesting story how it takes a legend to etch another legend's historical value across the sport. And it's something that gets recognized throughout Major League Baseball today. It's been done for years on past, but the story that is told on when you play MLB The Show 26 by Matt Vasgersian is how Ken Griffey Jr. he fought for the concept of number 42 being retired. And it was because of him that the number was retired. And he actually introverted his numbers and swapped it to be number 24 in and out of respect for Jackie Robinson. And today you'll see baseball throughout all days. It's the middle of the week. So you'll get daytime games, you'll get nighttime games. And you'll see just number 42, the day where no one's going to be identified as a name. No one's going to be identified as a skin color or as a race. Baseball is not about who you are, not about where you came from. It's about the enjoy and the love of the sport, of the game. So, today is a very big day for me. And I think that, the story is just reminded, it just reminds you, that it's not just in baseball. It's the same thing for football, the same thing for even professional wrestling. And Jackie Robinson, someone who has broke the color barrier officially in Major League Baseball. And just imagine, back in the month of February, I posted a segment or something on Facebook every day or every week, honoring the color barriers being broken in sports, whether it was basketball or hockey or baseball or even tennis, and learning about a lot of these players in the days and just imagining the adversity, the obstacles they had to be resilient and powerful, self control, self disciplined, to be able to receive criticism and hatred and trying to create something and have themselves not only to put all that stuff beside them as it was going on and then leave a legacy for others to follow. I think it's something that is just on another level, something that we don't necessarily pay attention to. But today we celebrate Jackie Robinson Day in Major League Baseball. Teams will be wearing number 42 throughout their jersey, no names on the back. And on MLB.com by Brent McGuire, Major League Baseball will celebrate Jackie Robinson's life on Wednesday, that's today, with the league's annual Jackie Robinson Day. It will mark the 79th anniversary of Robinson's debut with the Brooklyn Dodgers that broke the baseball color barrier. As part of MLB's Together program, all on-field personnel will wear Jackie's iconic number 42 in Dodger blue. Regardless of each team's primary colors, the royal blue number 42 socks from Stance. Each club caps will also feature a number 42 patch. MLB also introducing a new campaign title, We Are Jackie, which will feature a new dedicated spot across MLB social media outlets and is narrated by Hall of Famer CC Sabathia. An initiative will also be featured on social media interview series with a lineup of current and former players, including Sabathia, 2026 Hall of Fame inductee Andrew Jones, 2022 Jackie Robinson's NL Rookie of the Year Michael Harris II, and Athletics outfielder Lawrence Butler and Denzel Clark. Victor Scott of the St. Louis Cardinals and the AUSL player Maya Brady and Jada Coleman, who share personal insights into Jackie's legacy, has shaped their careers and their own impact on the game today. So we kind of go through the teams. You could check out this article online. I'm just going to read the Cincinnati Reds kind of portion. Every team, I guess, has their own commemorative thing that they're doing for their organization. For the Cincinnati Reds, the the commemoration began April 11th at the PNG MLB Cincinnati Reds Youth Academy, featuring the Joe Morgan HBCU Classic between the Wilberforce University and Ohio Christian University baseball teams, with players wearing Negro League style uniforms in tribute. The day included high school baseball and softball games as part of the Skyline Chili Reds Future High Showcase presented by PNC, along with the HBCU College Fair connecting local students with higher educational opportunities. The celebration continues Wednesday with programs at Reds Youth Academy, including a Reds player, a Q&A session, and an HBCU matchup between the Wilberforce University and Kentucky State University teams. Something to check out here. We'll also scroll down to the Dodgers and kind of just read what they have, since Jackie Robinson was a Dodger. Commemorative jersey will be passed out to fans in attendance at tonight's ball game as they take on the New York Mets at 7:10 p.m. Pacific time. Prior to the game, the Mets will join the Dodgers for their annual Jackie Robinson Day reflection at number 42 statue in Centerfield Plaza. Joining the teams will be Bob Kendrick, president of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, alongside Jackie Robinson Foundation scholars and Robinson's granddaughters, Sonia Pinky Robinson and Oyo Robinson. The Los Angeles Dodgers Foundation will mark Jackie Robinson Day 2026 by celebrating the ALDF Jackie Robinson Foundation scholars and alumni for the meaningful lineup of experiences, including attendance at the Jackie Robinson statue event and a career development panel hosted by LADF and the Dodgers Bank Action Network. So I think that's pretty cool. If you headed out to the Dodgers game tonight, you'll be receiving a number 42 commemorative jersey to wear and to represent. I think that's like I said, it's a big day for baseball. And talking about big days in baseball, today's kind of going to be marked as a special day. One thing that we're going to add onto our channel are our upcoming games as well on our Facebook page. So tonight we will be seeing the Reds and the Giants at 6:40, and later on tonight at 10:10, we will have a special doubleheader feature as we will have the Dodgers and the Mets on MLB The Show Franchise Mode series available on our TNC Sports Talk YouTube channel. And one thing that we are going to do is also have those games available on our MLB The Show on our Facebook page. at those selected times. So you guys get a chance to see those games played on our Facebook channel. So I encourage you guys to check them out, tune into them the best you can. Still working on that progress, but we're going to get that day going. Alrighty. Well, the Reds got back on the winning ways yesterday, and we will be talking about that here momentarily. Today, we will also give you a trip around sports here as NBA play-in tournament continues tonight. Two more games, and then we're gonna dive into some WrestleMania 42 conversations, even some early predictions as we inch closer to WrestleMania 42. Just 3 days away, which is a huge is the cat is counting 3 days, 7 hours, 48 minutes before night one of WrestleMania 42. But we get started off with the Cincinnati Reds as I felt rejoiced to see the organization to see the Reds make a comeback and beat the San Francisco Giants 2-1, the final score. You know, I said yesterday that this is a good series, okay, to come back from a poor weekend performance against the Angels and just find ways to win. Look, I don't, I believe, we're only, a half a month into the season. I believe that the Reds are going to bring their bats around. Okay. And I think in the meantime, regardless if they're hitting or if they're not hitting, I think we have to just recognize and appreciate that when you look at where the Reds are today, and if you sat here and told me that the Reds are going to come into today's ball game, April 15th, Jackie Robinson Day, and they are going to enter in with a 10-7 record, tied for first place, but they are going to be one of the lowest scoring teams in all of baseball today, I would have told you you're crazy. There's just no way. Um, if you would have told me that we'd be undefeated in one-run games thus far, okay, and also undefeated in two-run games this far when we're leading, okay, I'd say you're crazy because that's something that we have not done in years past. As a matter of fact, that's really things that have haunted us. And the fact that we sat here yesterday, 2-1 record, was the final score. Brady Singer, who needed a bounce back game from Miami, and he had one. Okay. He only gave up the lone run, gave up 6 hits in 6 innings, and struck out one batter. So a lot better compared to the 10 hits, 5 runs he did back in Miami. Sal Stewart, Spencer Steer, both went 1 for 3, but they hit a home run in doing so. I mean, what more can you ask for? Emilio Pagan picked up his 5th save of the season, and we took game 1. And, look, we're going into this next stretch, right? It's 3 games home, 6 games on the road before we get a weekday off next Thursday. And I'm just trying to take it series by series, game by game. And the one thing that just kind of popped into my mind thinking about the Reds win, where the Reds are at, how often have you had to sit here and since March 26th and say to yourself, man, I wish Hunter Green was back in that rotation? How much would this club be better at if Nick Lodolo was healthy, not dealing with the blister finger? One or two times fair to say that I have myself have asked those questions, thought of, well, how is Hunter Green doing in his recovery? thinking of when the next day Nick Lodolo is going to be on the mound in a ball game in a live situation. And I'm going to say at least once, maybe twice. I think the first time was when Nick Lodolo was scheduled to get the bump and he was taken out. I kind of got excited for a bit. But despite the issues that we currently have that we're trying to fix, I haven't had to think about that. So when your ace pitcher is out and yet you're just handling business, not even thinking about that, because what's going on with your team is good enough to distract you from the negatives that this team is putting out. For me, that's a win. Now, apparently last night during the Reds game, Emilio Pagan sustained a little tweaked hamstring, and hopefully it's nothing serious. But this was actually apparently, from my understanding, it came from the very first pitch that he threw to the first batter he faced in the ninth inning, and he was able to work out of it. Didn't give up a hit, didn't give up a walk, didn't give up a run, struck out one batter. So, I mean, I'm not trying to toot the own horn here, so to speak. I'm not trying to sit here and expose that these Reds is a better team than than what we actually see it. And sure, there are flaws, and no, they're not the Dodgers by any means necessary, but they have shown clear indications that they're not giving up so easily, that they're going to stay into these ball games. Now, I think the only thing that runs through concern when you talk about how the Reds are playing and the not giving up attitude, I love it. Okay. I love the fact that we could be down by 3 runs and we're still playing 27 outs, and that's how all 30 ball clubs should be. But I guess I am haunted by the Reds' past, haunted by the notorious bullpen failures we've seen time and time again, haunted by our starting rotation collapsing like it's come close to here early on. Runners not being scored in, runs not being scored. And I'm just haunted because it's the same patterns that the Reds have had year after year after year. And if I was able, the only thing I could take away that indicates a possible change out of all of this is that we have decided to go ahead and make transactions, which sent Noelvi Marte to the minors, bringing up Rhys Hines. Rhys Hines went 0 for 3 yesterday. Give him some time. We got to be patient with that. But the Reds have a chance to go back at it again, pick up the series win, have at least 3-3 record at home, which is something that we would love to do before our getaway day on tomorrow. And it starts tonight. 6:40 first pitch. Giants, Reds. Giants moved to 6-11. Reds are 10-7. The Giants are sending out Tyler Mahle, who's had an 0-2 record with a 4.3 ERA. Rhett Lauder will be on the mound for the Redlegs, 1-1 record, 3.31 ERA. Last time Mahle was out, he pitched back on April 8th against the Phillies. He went 5 2/3 of an inning, giving up 3 hits, no ones, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. Rhett Lauder pitched on the 9th, which was last Thursday. He went 5 1/3 of an inning, giving up 8 hits, 4 runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. Pretty good deal if you ask me. But, look, we saw a good performance out of Brady Singer. I'd like to see another good performance out of Rhett Lauder. Keep that going. Beat up on these Giants. Yeah, they had more offensive power. They had 7 hits last night's ball game compared to our three, but you know, hey, our defense are putting to work, our pitchers are getting out of innings, and that's what we like to see. Game 2's tonight at 6:40. You can check it out on Reds TV or WLW 700. The NL Central looks pretty promising as well. The Washington Nationals beat the Pirates 5-4. The Cubs beat the Phillies 10-4. Blue Jays beat the Brewers 9-7. The Cardinals beat the Guardians, 6-5. Today's ball games around the NL Central at 1:15. The Guardians and the Cardinals get finish wrapping up a 3-game series. The rubber game matchup begins at 1:15. At 6:40, the Washington Nationals will take on the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Chicago Cubs will take on the Philadelphia Phillies. At 7:40, the Toronto Blue Jays will take on the Milwaukee Brewers. You know, I was it came to me by surprise a couple weeks ago when we welcomed in a rookie, a 19-year-old kid in the name of Connor Griffin. Connor Griffin had, I think, a really good performance on his major league debut. Hitting a couple RBIs, scoring in some runs, and the Pirates wasted no time by signing him and locking him down for 8 years, $130+ million, whatever that contract was. And I was thinking to myself, and I talked to you guys about this when the time broke, and it came to me as a shock. And as a player, why wouldn't you want to sign a deal? But it's also a contrary note because today's time, we really, you just got called up to the big leagues. You don't know what you're capable of. How much you're betting on yourself now that your value is over the next 8 years, it's $130 million. When you see players today go out there making $400-500 million, I said to myself that if Connor McGriffin was that good of a ball player, he should have bet on himself and he should have waited for his rookie years to be completed, reevaluate his situation, and try to get a better deal. Because if you think about it, he would be, 28 years old before being able, not even basically in his prime by the time he's done. So there is a risk factor. The Pirates are also taking a risk factor by signing a player like Connor McGriffin that young within that much period of time. You must have a lot of faith in this young kid because he may not perform to the way of how much you're paying him. But the deal is done, and we thought it was a high stake breaking news, and I think only time will tell if the move pays off. But another breaking news acquired this morning, we learned that the Detroit Tigers and Kevin McGonigal, another prospect who made the opening day lineup roster for the Detroit Tigers when they opened up against the Padres, they have agreed on an 8-year, $150 million extension. Now, in comparison, Kevin McGonigal is batting .311. He's had 1 home run, 8 RBIs, and 14 hits. Compared to Connor Griffin with the Pirates, who's batting .189, no home runs, 5 RBIs, and 7 hits. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that the Pirates shot themselves in the foot and Detroit is practically doing the same thing, but what comes out of interest to me and just takes my breath away out of all of this is the fact is the fact that we're not even a month into the season, and these two players are getting 8-year contracts, $150 million, and we really don't know what their true value is. There's really no numbers at the major league level that we can take away and go off of. And look, I mean, as a player, I sit here and I tell myself, take the deal. You're betting on yourself, and you're taking that chance. But there's a part of me that says, asking myself, what are these teams thinking about when they want to re-sign these young players? So here's a quick breakdown of the contract. Next year, he will receive $1 million in 2027, $7 million in 2028, $16 million in 29, $21 million in 30, $22 million in 31, and in 32 and 34, he'd receive $23 million per season. Now, I'm all for it. I'm saying if you think that you're investing into a guy, go ahead and do it. 8, 10 years, 150, 200,000 million dollars. Fine by me. Hopefully that they develop and they prove themselves that they're worth something more. I've seen it with Fernando Tatis Jr., Hunter Green. We also saw it. But this is just early. I just feel like it's really early on. We haven't even played a month of baseball at the pro levels. And man, these contracts are offering out. It is a good time to be a baseball fan or to be a baseball player. If you could convince one team to, hey, I want to be the center of attention, you build your team around me, and I'm a big key part, go ahead and lock them in. But gosh, a little too much, isn't it? Well, Bearcats baseball. I was watching a little bit of Bearcats baseball last night. I saw Quentin Coates hit that grand slam, his 22nd home run of the year. Saw the Bearcats demolish the Xavier Musketeers 15-5. As a matter of fact, this game was done in 7 innings, but believe it or not, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the Reds game completed in its entirety before the Bearcats game. Something about college baseball where games are they take longer to proceed. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but Bearcats got back on winning ways. They started their game off at 6 p.m., 40 minutes prior to the Reds. Sure, the Reds were only 2-1 scoring, but at the end of it, Cincinnati comes out on top 15-5. They moved to 25-14 on the year. 6-9 in conference play, 1 win winning streak, 15-5 at home, 9-9 on the road, 1-0 at neutral sites. They head out to UCF in Orlando, Florida, to begin a 3-game series beginning on Friday, where Friday and Saturday's game starts at 6 o'clock, followed by a 12 p.m. on Sunday. NBA tournament continues. Last night, we saw the Miami Heat lose to the Charlotte Hornets, 127-126. Charlotte Hornets will keep themselves alive. Let me just pull that up so I have the understanding. All right. Let's go to the brackets. All right, so with Miami losing, they have been eliminated. Charlotte Hornets have advanced. Therefore, they are now just awaiting the winners of the losers of the 76ers and the Magics. The loser of tonight's game, that tip-off is at 7:30 between Orlando and Philadelphia. The losers will go on to take on the Charlotte Hornets, while the winners will clinch in the number 7 seed in the playoffs. Now, over there in the West Side, we saw Phoenix Suns beat the Portland Trailblazers. Or we saw the Portland Trailblazers, beat the Phoenix Suns 114 to 110, which means Portland has clinched the number 7 seed in the playoffs. Phoenix Suns move down to the losing bracket. They await the winners of tonight's matchup between the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Clippers. The winner will advance to face the Suns and a chance to claim the number 8 seed of the NBA playoffs. Both games will be available on Prime. You can check out cbssports.com for more information. Well, the NFL draft is coming up near. I think we're just about 2 weeks away from the NFL draft, and some news has been received by the Cincinnati Bengals concerning about one of their favorites to be first round pick of their draft coming up here in just a few weeks. Comes from Tennessee cornerback Jamard McCoy. He's one of the most popular mock draft selections for the Bengals, but his NFL Combine medical recheck has sparked concerns leading up to this upcoming draft. Says here that the Cincinnati Bengals was as many defensive players to choose this pick as number 10, Tennessee cornerback Jamard McCoy could be one of them. The 20-year-old was a dominant defensive back for the Tennessee Volunteers. Back in 2024, torn his ACL and took him out of action in 2025. McCoy has performed athleticism testing for NFL teams since his recovery, but the latest development with him is potentially discouraging for him to be drafted early. The NFL Scouting Combine performs medical checks for all participating players, and some players end up going back for rechecks a month later. McCoy was one of the names to be reevaluated for all 32 clubs to get a better sense of what his knee is more than a year since after injury. McCoy's recheck has teams concerned about his knee being a degenerative condition. In a tweet post, several teams have flagged the combine medical of Tennessee cornerback Jamard McCoy for reports. Man, I think I've walked away from the NFL draft as far as I can. There's a lot of people out there doing mock drafts. I'm not really the one to partake in this. But if you're looking at what the Cincinnati Bengals need, we know what they did so far this offseason. We know what they still need heading into this season. And they're turning to the NFL draft to see what they could select. If Jamard McCoy, a cornerback who we do desperately need, if he's one of these guys who's on this list time and time again, it's deceiving when you have to take a step back and reanalyze. Well, is he the actual player? Or are we just going to pick him up and he's going to give us issues with his health? And it's not necessarily his fault. He's doing everything he can. And it's just one of those things that would be a bummer to a top tier talent like McCoy is. How my interesting theory or thoughts are, how does this change the Cincinnati Bengals approach heading into the draft? And is it as easy as let's bypass him because you don't have another month to do another recheck? Or do you take that risk factor if he's available? I don't think that the Bengals have much room to take risk heading into this draft. So if there is a flag to this, I say bypass him. Now, if he's available down lower in the draft and he still becomes available and you're running out of players, maybe that's a different story. But I say bypass him. Alrighty. All right, WrestleMania 42 countdown continues. We are just 3 days away. And it's been reported through numerous sources that ticket sales have surged, remaining ahead towards the big top of the gates in WWE history. WrestleMania 42 in Las Vegas, set to be a 2-night event at Allegiant Stadium. Pat McAfee has pointed out that tickets aren't moving for the event, blaming the state of the business and Cody Rhodes as the leader of the business. McAfee claims that once Randy Orton wins the WWE undisputed WWE title against Cody Rhodes, that the business will be saved. On the latest episode of SmackDown, McAfee announces that tickets at WrestleMania 42 Saturday would be 25% from Friday through WWE Raw this past Monday. So 25% off. The move worked as, according to WrestleTix, over 2,000 extra tickets were sold compared to 600 tickets being sold for WrestleMania Sunday. That is good news, right? In a new report by Sports Business Journal, a source close to WWE said ticket sales have surged in recent weeks and projected that the event remains headed towards one of the top gates in WWE history. For the second straight year, WrestleMania is being held at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. WWE announced 61,468 fans in attendance for WrestleMania 41 Night 1 and 63,226 fans for Night 2. Las Vegas SA reported 58,538 fans attended the event on Saturday, and 60,103 fans were in attendance on Sunday for WrestleMania. So, all right, so they're not off. I guess so. There's a difference. If maybe they're counting heads. WrestleMania, WWE's counting heads. That's where they get the 61 and 63, while the Las Vegas counts tickets. I don't know. This has been an ongoing concern, huge concern for the WWE this year. Sales of tickets. You're at Allegiant Stadium. I feel like you're in one of the epic centers of where WWE should be in. Okay. Um Now, I think, over this past several months, I've given my fair take on what I believe has caused the backdrop. One, inflation is getting higher. Okay. I mean, I'm not going out to wrestling events. I'm not even going to baseball games right now like I would want to. Inflation is higher. Increases of payroll is not meeting up to the inflations. The struggle of just living on a weekly to biweekly basis is a real thing. And, for the people who wouldn't typically maybe have the extra budget through tax returns or through whatnot, may say, all right, let's get our tickets. Well, you just haven't seen them do that. So inflation for me is one. Two, it's back at Allegiant Stadium. Now, I don't know how well Las Vegas perceived WrestleMania 41 and if it was even something that, took notice. I know it was a big event. I know, they hit it out of the park, but usually you go to WrestleMania for the week to explore and to understand, to sightsee, to witness all everything. But if you've been there before, you've been to Las Vegas, very similar to last year's, then why do you go again? I can't help but wonder if some of the lack of tickets has to do with the same location twice. Another option is that WWE, and I'm not just saying WWE, I say Endeavor, I say TKO, have rose the prices, which has been identifiable by even guys like CM Punk, guys like Pat McAfee, guys like Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. It is undeniable to understand that WrestleMania 42 tickets are expensive. Let's give you in a 2-day pass, it's about $700 the cheapest. Well, the cheapest available, it's about $400 for 2 nights or per night. Ticketmaster floor seats can reach over 32,000. Packages start at $1,900. I mean, I look at the lowest is this is 2-day ticket prices, about $354. Premium floor seats are averaging anywhere between 4,000 to 18,000. I struggle. I don't have that money. And if you think of if I'm a fan from Kentucky, $400 for one person, plus whatever Ticketmaster fees are. And then you got 2 people going, so that's $1,000. On top of how much plane tickets are, am I gonna get there Friday? I'm gonna have to get a hotel room, which is gonna be expensive. I'm gonna have to buy food, which is gonna be expensive. I'm gonna have to buy drinks, which is gonna be expensive. Las Vegas is just naturally more expensive as compared to last year. Single day prices for WrestleMania, 2-day prices, lowest options were about $500 last year. That was in Las Vegas. Let's go to WrestleMania 40. 2-day prices, average tickets $341. So, at least according to what I'm seeing, tickets haven't fluctuate at least to the lower. WrestleMania 39 tickets in 2023 started around $80 for single day passes. Combos were about $200. I think that's a really good deal. So it's definitely gone up over the last couple of years. I think the only thing that sells to me on the reason why WrestleMania is also not receiving, it has to be the match card. I don't. You advertise Roman Reigns and CM Punk for 6 weeks in February. You gave us from 2 matches to 4 matches to 5 matches And 10 plus of these matches weren't even announced until just 2 weeks ago. If I'm buying, if one of the PLEs is coming to Great American Ballpark or it's coming to Heritage Bank Arena, I'd get tickets because how often does PLEs come to Cincinnati? But other than that, how often, unless I am seeing the match card, unless I am convinced that the match card is good enough, then why am I buying tickets in advance? You have to sell me. And I just feel like that's one thing that the WWE has lacked of, is the sell. Alrighty. So WrestleMania 42 is here. We have 14 matches on the card. I'm going to start reviewing some of the matches here today and give you my early predictions. And I wanted to kick off with this first match of Austin Theory, Logan Paul, and I Show Speed taking on the Usos and LA Knight. I see one tag team title on the line at WrestleMania. I feel that this 6-man tag team match is a match put on the card for this 6-man talent just to have a spot at WrestleMania. There is a rhyme and there's a reason. There's been a feud that's been going on between these 6 men for quite some time. But when you ask yourself, what could you have done to improve this? Where does LA Knight have an opponent at WrestleMania that doesn't fit within the storyline? We think of Austin Theory, Logan Paul, the tag team champions. They have a dispute with the Usos. They just took the titles off of them. LA Knight's been associated with the Usos and the Vision for quite some time. It seems like one of those repetitive week in and week out storylines that's made absolutely zero progress. And it frustrates me because there was maybe hopes, there was maybe rumors, speculations that we could see a shift or a change in the Usos, where maybe one of them turned heel and we saw the Usos versus the Usos. Maybe we saw LA Knight taking on Logan Paul. And in spite of all of that, we have now opened up a slot for I Show Speed to get his celebrity appearance with his 15 minutes of fame. And it doesn't really do any progress for me. It doesn't paint a picture. It doesn't paint a picture. Doesn't move a storyline. And so, I'm asking myself this very important question. Because let's face it. I feel like every storyline has to have some sort of, every match at WrestleMania has to have some progression moving forward. I just don't see it. I think this is a match where, like I said, you have talent that has not made WrestleMania match card, and this is one of them. Therefore, you throw these all men in a ring together, you give them 15, 20 minutes, and you go home, and it's kind of almost pointless to me. To ask my opinion on who I think would win, I think that it would benefit, okay, that Austin Theory, Logan Paul, and I Show Speed pick up the victory. I think that when you look at them winning the tag team titles, when you look at them, the 15 minutes of fame from I Show Speed and his involvement, I feel like it sets up, and I feel like you do it in the way where you see tension with the Usos and LA Knight, and maybe that's the reason why it costs them a match. But my first prediction for WrestleMania 42, Austin Theory, Logan Paul, and I Show Speed defeating the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, and LA Knight. Let me get this one. All right. My next one we'll get into. Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Now, I actually like this feud. I feel like this has been something that we've been waiting for quite some time. Has been a shift change in the Judgment Day. I really wanted to see something more when everything unraveled with Damian Priest in the Judgment Day, but this makes a lot of sense, a lot of purpose. I feel like Finn Balor has, if not been held back from a luxury career that could have been filled with titles and reigns, that from the WWE Championship to so on and so forth, if he was not paired with the Judgment Day this long. It's I think that moving forward beyond the Judgment Day, rewriting your own career, and what other better way doing it than bringing out the demon is best for Finn Balor. Now, Dominic Mysterio has not had a shy of heart when it has come to having WrestleMania matches. It's been very involved, and I think this one fits the bill. So the challenge here is Finn Balor saying claiming that he's the one who taught Dominic Mysterio how to be, play dirty, how to be this bad guy to get his way. And you've seen success that Dominic Mysterio took from that. And now Finn Balor believes that Dominic has bitten off more he can chew. And it's been corrupting him. The Judgment Day has been corrupting him. So Finn Balor is planning on heading into this match, knocking some sense into Dominic Mysterio. He doesn't have the Intercontinental Championship anymore. And, all good things, in my opinion, come to an end. One of my biggest questions that lurk in this storyline, but also has a role in other matches at WrestleMania this year, is if we will see a shift change in the Judgment Day. And I think that there's opportunity to see a shift change in the Judgment Day. But I am reluctant to think that in order to do so, Dominic will have to lose. So at WrestleMania 42, I predict that Finn Balor, the demon, the entity that we've been teased about for so long that hasn't really made a presence on the main roster also that much. The reason why a lot of fans were excited to see, we finally get that back. And so I'm excited to see the creativity. I'm excited to see the, what comes of the demon. Just the presence when the music hits and the lights fade and the red flashing lights come off, it's going to be a different world. And I think that it's going to hopefully spark, when we react to it as fans, hopefully it sparks something more, and it sparks the attention of the WWE universe and of Finn Balor, and it goes on, and he goes on to having a single run that goes on to win titles before his career is over. That's what I predict. So I have Finn Balor winning, and there's just something along the line that indicates to me that the Judgment Day is on this verge of some havoc. They need a breakdown, and title after title after title. Well, we've already passed that. I don't think that they're in line for winning titles. I think that they're in line to being on this downhill trend. That I think we wanted to even see last year that we haven't seen. So hopefully that ends up changing here at WrestleMania 42. I have no more time on our show to continue with WrestleMania 42 match card predictions. I will continue tomorrow. I also like to be able to separate these and post them individually, so give me enough time to do so. But be sure to check out our Facebook page, TNC Sports Talk, where tonight's ball, and our TNC Sports Talk YouTube page, where you will find our um, our doubleheader feature Jackie Robinson Day on MLB The Show franchise mode, where we play the Cincinnati Reds. We will be hosting a doubleheader feature as the Giants and Reds will take on each other at 6:40 Game 2. And then we'll also see the Dodgers and the Mets at 10:10 later tonight for Jackie Robinson Day. If you guys like this episode, we appreciate your support. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Have those notifications on so you don't miss a single episode. Also, be sure to follow us on our Road to the Show series, which continues. We'll have another one launched tomorrow, and so much more. You can also follow us on our social media pages. We're on Facebook, we're on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. Also, follow us on our audio platforms. You can download, take this episode wherever you go by listening to us on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and so much more. Tomorrow's game's at 12:40, so we'll kick things off with baseball conversations, heading right back into WrestleMania 42 talk. Man, WrestleMania 42 is right around the corner. I can't believe it. But that is all the time I have for you guys today. Until tomorrow, you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.